It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. Y'all, we made it to Friday. I have no idea how we did it, but we're here. Congratulations. I have a good Masterpiece Friday for you. And for those of you who were with me last week, I think you know what's coming. In fact, all of you should because you've seen the thumbnail. We're finishing up 90125 from Yes today. We're listening to all of side 2. Last week we got to side 1, and I am excited to again hear from one of my favorite bands, and it's going to be a fun Friday. So thanks for being with me. Last week we heard all of the songs from side 1. Owner of a Lonely Heart, Hold On, It Can Happen, and Changes. And as I reflect on my experience last week, I think that It Can Happen was my favorite from side 1, the Chris Squire song. I thought that was really, really great. Of course, Owner of a Lonely Heart is an iconic tune, and to this day, the band's only number 1 hit. But It Can Happen was really great. All of the songs on side 1 were particularly wonderful. It is a new style. As I've been going through the Yes output from the 70s more than anything, it's a new Yes for the 80s here. I understand that, but it's still quite wonderful music, and so I'm eager to get to the rest of this album. So let's get into it, y'all. As we remember, I have gone through much of the band's output from the 70s, and on my Patreon, not too long ago, I listened to all of the Drama album, and with that being the previous album before we get to 90125, this one was on my list, and I decided to get to it here on YouTube. This album was released in November of 1983, and just to recap a little bit, y'all, after the tour to support the Drama album, the band broke up. Bassist Chris Squire, drummer Alan White, and Trevor Rabin formed a new band called Cinema. And they did that with original Yes keyboardist Tony Kaye. And meanwhile, while that was going on, Steve Howe and Jeff Downes left the group to form Asia. And when John Anderson accepted Cinema's invitation to come back and join them as the lead vocalist, they just decided to yeah, we're Yes again. It's Chris Squire, it's John Anderson. That's enough as far as I'm concerned. But we've got all the rest of these guys, and they came back as Yes and did this album. The music, as I said, on this album is much more of a mainstream rock and pop sound as compared to their progressive rock offerings of the 1970s. But I was quite impressed with the mixing, with the production, with the songwriting quality on side 1, and so I really can't wait to get to these 5 songs that we have on side 2. We're going to hear Cinema, Leave It, Our Song, City of Love, and Hearts. And it's going to be a fun time. I'm excited that you are here. We've got John Anderson on vocals. Trevor Rabin is on guitars and keyboards and vocals. Tony Kaye is on the keyboards. Chris Squire is on bass and vocals. And Alan White is on drums and percussion. We start off with a song called Cinema. It's an instrumental, and it's relatively short, y'all. It's named after the other band that some of these musicians were operating under. And from what I can gather, this was originally a much, much longer composition, but it was trimmed down to around 2 minutes, becoming the shortest song on this album, and it becomes the only Grammy that Yes ever won. How about that? In 1985, they won Best Rock Instrumental Performance for this song that we're about to hear. I have not yet heard it. And I don't know, y'all. This might be the greatest 2 minutes of Yes music ever recorded. But I'm just left a little dumbfounded that a band that specialized in long-form progressive rock and did it as well as anybody for a decade wins their only Grammy for a 2-minute instrumental. The world is a weird place, isn't it? So let's get started, y'all. Here is Cinema from Yes. Off we go. Okay. And it sounds like a Steve Howe guitar part off the bat, actually. That's a G, F sharp. So F sharp is the bottom note here. And then it goes to G and A, which I wasn't expecting. Five, six, seven. No. This is great. I think they went up to I don't know where they went up to. Well, that might be some of the best 2 minutes of instrumental music from Yes that I've heard. That was beautiful. I want to hear the rest of it. I read that originally it was way over 10 minutes, getting close to even 20 minutes as a piece, as an instrumental. And they only give us that much? I want an entire album side of that stuff. John can sing, that would be fine. John can play percussion, that would be fine. That was really cool. I heard F sharp as the main note in the bass, but I don't think it was in F sharp. I think it was like an inverted D chord because they were going up to G and A and G and A, so it sounds like mi fa sol instead of like do raw may or something like that in terms of F sharp movable do. At some point I think that they got to B flat as or an A sharp as a chromatic third, but then moved back to the F sharp, and I think that's where they finished, maybe even on a D chord. But my experience there was, sounds great, I wish there was more. That's my experience with Cinema after a first-time listen. Let's move on to Leave It. This is written by Chris Squire and Trevor Rabin and Trevor Horn, who is the producer on this album. And as I read, this is primarily an a cappella tune. I don't mind that at all. They focused on the vocals first, and then the other instruments were added in later. But the mix, as I look here, maintains having the voices quite forward in the sound, in the overall mix of the track. And as a writer of vocal music and choral music, I'm intrigued by this. This was the second single released from the album, and it peaked at number 24 on the Billboard charts. So let's get into it, y'all. This is Leave It from Yes. Here we go.
I can feel no sense of measure, no illusions as we take.
That's a G.
Refuge in young
suspended. That's cool. Breaking down the dreams we make real. And it reminds me of some Gentle Giant influence. This is cool.
One down, one to go. Another town, one more show. Downtown, giving away, but you never came back. No phone to take your place. Do you know what I mean? We have the same intrigue as the Carter King.
That's got to be Trevor singing. I'll leave it. This is incredible, y'all. You just broke out of the danger zone. We're using a lot of suspended chords here, where the third is taken out and the fourth above the root is put in instead. And it butts up against the fifth of the chord. Just trying to join in. This is one of the more unique sounding pop songs that I can remember hearing in quite some time. And it's on the strength of all of their vocals. One of these bands where everybody sings, you know? Breaking down the dreams we make real. So that's back to that a cappella intro. Goodbye bad, hello heaven. We're leaving the bad stuff and we're saying hello to the good stuff. I can get behind that.
One down, one to go.
Another town and one more show. One down, one to go. Town and one more show.
One down, one to go. Another town, one more show.
And there you go. That's an interesting tune. Really interesting. Originally, I thought, you know, if I heard Cinema segue directly into that, I think it would be really effective, because Cinema, I think, ends on that either it's a root position D chord or it ended with D in first inversion, and then the first note we got, or the first chord we got around here was in G, and then it kind of stayed around D as well. And so it makes for, I think, a nice two-song stretch, especially coming in off the relatively short Cinema. Leave It. Wow, y'all. I love it when these guys put their vocal talents up front, because it's one of the things that they do really, really well, right? Really, really fun. So, next up, the third song on side 2 is called Our Song. And this is credited, the songwriting is credited to the entire band, and this was the B-side to Owner of a Lonely Heart. It ended up reaching number 32 on the US charts in 1983, and it makes reference in the lyrics to Rule Britannica, the pre-chorus here, singing Rule Britannica, and this is where it grabs you. There's method in the key of C. Toledo's got to be the silver city in this good country. How does Rule Britannia, which is a British patriotic song from the 18th century, from the mid-1700s, have anything to do with Toledo, Ohio? That I didn't catch. Verse 1, Toledo was just another pit stop along the Good King's Highway. It is. It's, well, if I-80 is the Good King's Highway, then they ain't wrong. My fortification took me by surprise and hit me, sending me sideways. Spellbound roundly, good for sunshine, can't help thinking. Singing Rule Britannia, and on it goes. They must have had a heck of an experience doing a show in Toledo. Maybe? I don't know, but I'm ready to hear it, y'all. This is our song, and it's from Yes. Here we go. Brighter. Cool. There we are. It went to A. That's the brighter sound, I think. More sharps. Cool. And they're in a funky meter. Rule Britannia. That's beautiful. Good on you, Tony. Changes keys. Right? I love the proggy nature of this. The meter is perplexing me. And this is Lydian here, over the D, the E major chord. Sounds really, really hopeful. Now it's back in A. Sounds a little bit like Rush. And back into D for the chorus. So get ready. Don't go, Toledo. Yeah. And that sounds like 5 to 1. So that's the E to the A that's not there. That was a fun tune. I need another listen to figure out what the meter was in some of those fun parts. And I think they were changing it up from one measure to the other with the amount of beats, but I missed it there, y'all. But I didn't miss the entire song. That was fun. Really fun. Toledo, y'all will help me out with this. Why Toledo? I mean, I could have said, holy Toledo. We've stopped over in Toledo many times over the years as we live in New Jersey, and a lot of our family lives in Nebraska, in Omaha, and we drive across I-80 for 2 days to get there. And a lot of times it's either stopping over in Toledo or stopping over in somewhere in Indiana. And it's a lovely town. It's a lovely town there on the shores of Lake Erie. But why is it included in that song? Y'all will tell me. I didn't quite see that in my read-in. Having a good time so far. Next up is a song called City of Love. And this one was written by Trevor Rabin and John Anderson. Trevor's concept for this song was driven by a visit to Harlem in New York City, where he was going to be joining a rehearsal with the band Foreigner. And his taxi arrived and dropped him off at the wrong address. And apparently it was a relatively dangerous neighborhood. And Trevor wrote about his experiences. He sort of started to write some ideas down, and then apparently John joined in with some of his own lyrical and musical ideas to complete the song. And apparently, we're going to get an excerpt from The Pines of Rome by Respighi in this somewhere. I read that, so I'll definitely be listening for that. It's one of my favorite little orchestral pieces, y'all. So with all of that said, let's get into it. Here is City of Love from Yes. Here we go. Take it, Chris. It's a full step. E, D.
Once bitten, twice shy. No regrets at all. Justice, body smooth, take over.
Good girls, they work the city. Guys spike you hard. How they jive and jingle when you're in their backyard. It's got a bit of a reggae feel to it. We'll be waiting for the night to come. Why? Is that when the fun stuff happens? There's a new 5. Stayed in the same key.
Supervisors for treatment, alternative line by line. So the street guy's so observant, take it for a ride, have a good time. Like a legend of mine, he showed
Those are
his
E and D's.
as he strides out of the dark. Better
Then it goes into relative major, G, for the chorus. And that's a suspended B chord. Which gets us back into E. How they jive and jingle when you're their sacrifice. No woman, no cry. It's a little on the nose for the reggae sounds. A little flat five in there, guys. Wow. Is that a guitar or a motorcycle? I think it's a guitar. Definitely an 80s sound, right? You get all the great vocals from these Yes musicians. The vocals have been on point on this side of the album for sure. And there's the song. City of Love. I've been to Harlem, y'all. Now, it's not the Harlem of the early 80s, but Harlem's a wonderful part of New York City. It's got a lot of actually great spots to eat and a lot of culture up on the north end of the park up there. It's really cool to hear the band just reinventing themselves, y'all. It's Yes, but it's yes and. It's a new Yes. They're improvising. They're moving forward from where they've been. That takes courage. And I really like it when these bands that have such longevity, end up, moving their musical aesthetic with the times, still putting their own humanity into it. It's really great. So we've got one more, friends, and it is called Hearts. This concludes the album, and it's the longest song on the album at 7.5 minutes. Normally a 7.5 minute Yes song is like the introduction and the first part, right? But on this album, it's the longest tune. And again, the songwriting here is credited to the entire band. We're using Trevor Rabin's original sketches that included a chorus and a bridge. Tony then wrote the introduction, the piano or the keyboard introduction, which led Trevor to develop another melody, I think for the verses from that. And then from that, John ended up coming up with a counter melody. So it's again a story of how all of the musicians in the band are working together to make as cohesive and as strong of a composition as they are able. So I am ready and eager to finish out the album. This is Yes with hearts. Here we go. So like a celesta in this ear and a different type of synth over here. Hearing talking, yes, I love you. That sounds like a John lyric.
Look around as you drift downstream, pouring souls into the ocean. Take account of all you've seen. One people together, freedom for today. So easy, the future, so see.
How long are they going to keep the bass and the drums out?
Love me, teach me, know me. One people together,
One people together, freedom for today, tomorrow forever. So see the people's way. I like it.
Many moons cascade one river. They light from side to side. As we cross in close proximity, like rivers our hearts entwine. How we talk, how we teach our children.
Goes to the 4 chord.
How they move, we direct our eyes. All the senses tune discovery. As it does when our hearts decide. Be ready
Back to
now,
1. They're in D minor.
circle. Be the central force you life. As the game extends the cycle. Be ready to move. One heart's for love, one's for giving.
Two arts are better than one. Nice. 1 over 3, 4, 5, over 3, 4, lay, flat 6. And it gets back to that minor key.
Yes, I
Another guitar solo that sounds nothing like Steve Howe, right? That's the big difference here when we get guitar solos. It's a different style of guitar playing for Yes than I'm used to.
One heart's for love, one's for giving.
So back in the chorus, it's 1 over 3, 4, flat 7. pitched percussion, along with the bass doing the melody before time. That was cool. I believe in it, I'm loving it. Two hearts are better than one. This is great. And there's the flat 6, or the minor 4, depending on how they're voicing it.
As we flow down life's rivers, I see the stars glow one by one. All angels of the magic constellation be singing us now.
Singing us now. There's the minor 4. Is that how the album ends? They end the album on a melancholy minor 4 chord within the confines of a major key. That's a bold choice. I love that song, friends. I think you could tell, right? What a great album. Is side 2 better than side 1? It might be. It just might be. I don't know. The whole album's great, y'all. In this chorus, hearts sailing down the river, hearts throwing out a line. I hearing it, I living it, I believe in it, I loving it. Two hearts will always be better than one. It's great. It's really great. Oh, I don't know if y'all can hear this. The landscapers are out with their gas-powered noisemakers outside my window here. I'm hoping that I can minimize the sounds of that as I finish this video up here. So, in 2004, an expanded and remastered version of this album was released. And there are bonus tracks on that version, or on that edition, that include a single remix of Leave It, a cinema only, maybe an earlier version of Make It Easy, the cinema version of It Can Happen, a song called It's Over by Trevor Rabin that was previously unreleased. And there is an extended remix of Owner of a Lonely Heart, which I think could be cool. But what I am interested in, it says there is an all a cappella version of Leave It. That interests me, friends. That interests me quite a bit. I need to listen to those. I'm not going to listen to them on today's video, but maybe, you know, that's enough. Maybe we could make that like an extra, like bonus material episode sometime. But I do have an idea over on our Patreon. I do meet with our top tier patrons, the Council of Dougs, about once a month, sometimes a couple times a month via Zoom. And we hang out for a couple of hours. We talk about the latest on the channel, some of our thoughts on newer music that's coming out, some of what's going to be on the channel, and we just hang out and enjoy each other's company. And tomorrow we're going to be meeting again, and I think that I should include some of these, maybe not all of them, but we'll play a few of these bonus tracks from 90125 with the council during our hangout tomorrow. I'm especially interested in the all voices version of Leave It. That I want to hear, and I want to hear it pretty darn soon. So if you are hearing this on Friday, March 14th, or early in the day on the 15th, the Ides of March, y'all, come become a member of the Patreon at the Council of Dougs or the Dougs Angels tier and join us and have a good time as we hang out and talk via Zoom for a couple of hours. That should be fun. Let me say this about this album, y'all. I was a little bit trepidatious coming into it because a lot of the classic Yes fans in the community are were like warning me. It's like they wanted me to like it, but they also wanted to manage my expectations, going, it's not Tales from Topographic Oceans, Doug. It's not like Close to the Edge is my favorite Yes album. They're like, it's not Close to the Edge. It's a different Yes sound. I'm like, I've heard drama. I've heard stuff from the 80s. I don't mind. I'm open-minded. I want to hear. It's not like I grew up with them during the 70s and they're like, yes, this is my band, and then felt maybe abandoned by them because they weren't doing the sounds that I was accustomed to at the time. I'm coming from this from decades later and just recognizing historically how the band changed and adapted over time, and I'm perfectly fine with it. Friends, you know, if they were putting out an album like Close to the Edge in 1983, that would be a difficult thing. Close to the Edge is so good, it probably would have sold well anyway. But the times were changing. The aesthetic of the period was different than it was 10 years, 12 years earlier, you know. And it's the mark of a good band, I think, to continually come back to their recording projects with fresh eyes and fresh perspectives, and they're going to make use of their musicianship and all that they've learned up to that point, and they're going to embark on creating a recording or an album that reflects what they're interested in, what they want to talk about, and uses the musical aesthetics of the day to reinforce their ideas and to deliver it to the wider population. You know, it's the mark of good popular music artists. You know, in the classical world, we might stay a little more traditional or stylistically rigid if we're wanting to stick within a certain genre. But with popular musicians, I think it's all about adapting and learning as you go, and the sounds that you make throughout your career should represent growth, not only as a person but as a musician. And I think that's what they've got here. I do miss some of Rick Wakeman's magic on the keyboards. Tony Kaye is a very capable and lovely keyboard player. It's a little simplified for Yes than I might be accustomed to on the keyboards. Rick has such a flair when he plays that that was a sound that I was missing here. But, you know, hearing John, especially at the very end, I mean, y'all, as we flow down life's rivers, I see the stars glow one by one. All angels of the magic constellation be singing us now. It's therapy. John Anderson is a person who, when I hear his lyrics, when I hear his voice, it just makes me feel better. And anytime that I can spend some time with John, as well as Chris and these other wonderful musicians, is a good time for me. So I thank y'all for being with me on this Friday. Last Friday, too. I mean, it's been a while since I listened to Yes on the channel, and it was really, really fantastic to get back to more of their music and this wonderful album, 90125 from Yes. Thanks, y'all. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.
It's the Daily Doug. Welcome to the Daily Doug. The Daily